My beloved child, pause for a moment, just a little longer than you usually allow yourself, because something subtle has already begun shifting around you, and if you move too quickly, you might miss the quiet truth that has been trying to reach your heart. There is a presence in your life that feels familiar, almost comforting in a strange way, yet lately, something about it has changed. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough for your spirit to notice, even if your mind keeps trying to explain it away. Have you felt it? That slight hesitation, that invisible weight, that unspoken question rising within you when you think of them. It's not confusion, it's awareness. And awareness never comes without purpose. But here is where it becomes even more interesting, because this is not about something being wrong with them, and it's not about something being wrong with you either. It's about alignment. And alignment is something your soul understands long before your thoughts can catch up. Take a breath, because what you're about to realize may feel gentle, but it carries a quiet power. Not everything that once felt right is meant to stay, and that doesn't mean it was a mistake. In fact, what if it was perfectly timed? What if every moment you shared, every word, every silence, was leading you to this exact realization? Wait, don't rush past that thought, because this is where many people turn away. They feel the shift, but they ignore it. They sense the change, but they silence it, and slowly, they begin to carry something that was never meant to stay with them for this long. But you are here for a reason, and something within you already knows that this message is not random. It found you at the exact moment you were ready to hear it, not before, not later. Now, let me ask you something quietly. When you think about this person, do you feel expansion? Or do you feel yourself holding back parts of who you are? Be honest, not with me, but with yourself, because the answer has been sitting within you for longer than you realize. Sometimes, the hardest truth is not that someone is bad for us. It's that they are no longer meant for the version of us we are becoming, and that realization can feel confusing. Because how can something that once felt so right, now feel slightly out of place? Stay here with this feeling. Don't try to solve it yet. Just notice it. There was a time when everything flowed easily. Conversations felt natural. Energy felt light. Being around them felt like something you didn't have to think about. But now, there are pauses where there used to be ease. There are questions where there used to be certainty. There are moments where your spirit gently pulls back, even when your mind tries to move forward. This is not rejection. This is guidance. Soft, quiet, but unmistakably real. And here is the part that most people overlook. Guidance doesn't always come as a loud sign. Sometimes, it comes as a feeling you can't fully explain. Sometimes, it comes as a subtle distance you can't quite measure. Sometimes, it comes as a deep inner knowing that something is gently changing, even if everything on the outside looks the same. And this is where your strength begins to awaken, because you are not being pushed away from someone out of loss. You are being guided toward something that matches you more deeply. Pause again. Let that settle. Because this isn't about something being taken from you, it's about something making space for you. Have you noticed how your thoughts have been shifting lately? How you've started to see things differently? How certain behaviors that once felt normal, now feel slightly uncomfortable? How your energy has been asking for something more peaceful, more aligned, more real? That is not random. That is growth. And growth changes everything. It changes what you tolerate. It changes what you accept. It changes what you are willing to carry. And sometimes, it gently moves you away from what no longer resonates with who you are becoming. Not suddenly, not forcefully, but slowly, with intention. Like a quiet hand guiding you toward a new path, while you're still trying to understand why the old one doesn't feel the same anymore. And here is something important. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to make dramatic decisions. You don't need to create distance out of fear or urgency. Because what is meant to shift, will shift naturally. What is meant to fall away, will do so without struggle. And what is meant to stay, will never require you to silence your own growth to keep it. Listen closely, because this part matters. If someone is meant to walk with you, they will meet you where you are becoming, not where you used to be. They will grow with you, not resist your evolution. They will feel like alignment, not confusion. And if that is not what you are feeling right now, then something within you is already recognizing the truth, even if you haven't fully accepted it yet. But don't rush this realization. Let it unfold. Because understanding comes in layers. And right now, you are only beginning to see the surface. There is something deeper, something more meaningful, something quietly unfolding behind all of this. Something that will make everything make sense. But only if you stay present long enough to see it. So don't skip ahead. Don't turn away. Because the next part of this carries a realization that could change the way you see this entire situation. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Something shifted again just now, didn't it? Not outside, but within you. As if a quiet door opened somewhere deep inside your awareness. And now you can't fully return to the way you were seeing things before. Stay here for a moment, because this is where everything begins to reveal itself more clearly, not all at once, but in gentle layers. There is a reason why this connection feels different now, and it's not because the bond was ever false. It's because its purpose is changing. Pause. That thought alone carries more truth than it first appears. Because not every connection is meant to last forever in the same form. Some are meant to awaken you. Some are meant to reflect parts of you that you hadn't yet seen. And some are meant to walk with you only until you remember who you truly are becoming. And what if this connection was one of those? Don't answer too quickly. Let the question breathe inside you. Because there was something this person brought into your life, something important, something that served a purpose at the exact time you needed it. Maybe they helped you feel seen. Maybe they brought you out of a version of yourself you had outgrown. Maybe they showed you a reflection of love, attention, or understanding that you had been searching for. But now, something is different. And it's not because they changed completely. It's because you did. Your awareness expanded. Your energy shifted. Your understanding deepened. And suddenly, what once felt aligned, now feels slightly out of rhythm. Not wrong, just not quite the same. Stay with that feeling. Because this is where many people get confused. They try to hold on to the past version of a connection, even when their present self no longer fits inside it the same way. And in doing so, they begin to shrink themselves, just to keep something familiar. But you are not meant to shrink. You are meant to expand. Even if that expansion feels quiet, even if it feels uncertain at first. Because growth rarely announces itself loudly. It reveals itself in subtle discomforts. In small realizations. In moments where your heart whispers, "This feels different now," and instead of ignoring that whisper, you're starting to listen. That alone is a powerful shift. But here is where it becomes even more meaningful. Because this is not just about moving away from someone. It's about moving closer to yourself. Let that sink in. Closer to your truth. Closer to your peace. Closer to the version of you that no longer needs to question their own feelings just to maintain a connection. Have you noticed how your silence around them has changed? It's not the same kind of silence anymore. Before, it may have felt comfortable. Now, it feels like something unspoken is lingering in the space between you. And that feeling, it's not meant to be ignored. It's meant to be understood. Because sometimes, the distance you feel is not separation. It's clarity. Clarity gently creating space, so you can see things without emotional noise. So you can recognize what is truly aligned, and what you have simply been used to. And this is where something deeper begins to unfold. Because this shift you're experiencing is not random. It's preparation. Preparation for something that requires more of your authenticity. More of your presence. More of your true energy, without compromise. And you cannot step fully into that if you are still holding on to something that no longer matches who you are becoming. Wait, there's something important here. This doesn't mean you need to let go with heaviness. This doesn't mean anything has to end with confusion or pain. Because not all distance is loss. Sometimes, it's simply evolution. Two paths, gently moving in different directions, without conflict, without force. Just, naturally. And the more you allow yourself to accept this, without resistance, the lighter you begin to feel. Not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped forcing something to stay exactly as it was. And in that space, something new begins to form. A quiet sense of peace, a deeper understanding, a subtle excitement, even if you can't fully explain it yet. Because your soul recognizes something your mind is still catching up to, that you are being guided. Not away from something meaningful, but towards something even more aligned. And here is where the realization becomes even more personal. Because this shift is not just about them. It's about what you are ready to receive next. Pause here. Ask yourself gently. What kind of connection feels like home to me now? Not the version from before. Not what you were willing to accept in the past. But now, in this moment. What feels true? What feels peaceful? What feels like you don't have to question yourself? Because the answer to that question is already shaping the direction your life is moving in. And that direction, it's not uncertain, it's just unfamiliar, for now, but something is quietly aligning behind the scenes. Something that will make this entire shift make sense in a way you didn't expect. And when you see it, you'll realize that nothing was taken from you. Everything was gently redirected. But that realization, it hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Not completely. There's still one more layer, something deeper, something you haven't fully seen. And once it becomes clear, everything will feel different. In a way that's calm, certain, and quietly powerful. There's a quiet truth approaching you now. Can you feel it? Not rushing, not forcing its way in, just slowly rising, like a realization that has been waiting for the exact moment when you're ready to truly understand it. Stay with me here, because this part is gentle, but it changes everything. What if the distance you've been sensing was never meant to create confusion, but to reveal something you could not see when you were too close? Pause. Because closeness sometimes hides clarity. When you are deeply involved in a connection, you feel everything, the warmth, the familiarity, the memories, and those feelings can be so strong that they blur what your deeper awareness is trying to show you. But now, something has shifted just enough for you to finally see without distortion, not through emotion alone, but through understanding. And what you're beginning to see is not something negative, it's something honest. There were moments, small ones, that you overlooked before. Moments where you adjusted yourself. Moments where you stayed quiet instead of expressing what you truly felt. Moments where you gave more than you received, without even realizing it. Not because you were weak, but because your heart was open, and an open heart often gives without keeping count. But now, you are noticing those moments, not with regret, but with awareness. And awareness changes everything, because once you see clearly, you cannot go back to seeing partially. Take a breath. This is not about blaming them. This is not about blaming yourself. This is about understanding the balance, or the lack of it, that has quietly existed beneath the surface. And here is the deeper realization. The one that has been waiting for you. You were not being guided away because something was broken. You were being guided away because something within you is now ready for something more complete. Let that settle. More mutual, more present, more aligned with the energy you are finally stepping into. Because the version of you that is emerging now no longer feels fulfilled by half connections. No longer feels at peace in spaces where you have to question your worth, even subtly. No longer finds comfort in what feels inconsistent, even if it once felt familiar. And that doesn't make you demanding. It makes you aware. It makes you aligned. And alignment doesn't settle. Pause again. There is something even more beautiful hidden inside this shift. Because while one connection is gently losing its hold, another space is opening. Not empty, not uncertain, just open. And in that openness, something is being prepared. Something that matches the way you think now, the way you feel now, the way you value yourself now. But here's the part most people don't realize. That new alignment cannot fully enter your life until you release your attachment to what no longer fits you the same way. Not through force, not through rejection, but through understanding, through peace, through quiet acceptance. Because when you let go with resistance, you carry the energy of what you're leaving behind. But when you let go with clarity, you create space for something better to arrive naturally. And you are beginning to reach that clarity. You can feel it in the way your thoughts are changing, in the way your energy feels lighter when you imagine stepping forward instead of holding on, in the way your heart feels not broken, but ready. Ready for something that doesn't confuse you. Ready for something that doesn't require you to overthink your place in it. Ready for something that feels calm, steady, and real. And here is the final piece. The one that quietly completes everything you've been feeling. This guidance. It's not removing someone from your life out of loss. It's repositioning you, so that you don't miss what is meant for you next. Stay here just a moment longer, because this matters more than it seems. Sometimes, people remain in situations not because it's right, but because it's familiar, and familiarity can feel like comfort, even when it no longer aligns. But you are moving beyond that. You are choosing truth over comfort. Alignment over attachment, clarity over confusion, and that choice, even if it feels quiet, is powerful, because it changes the entire direction of what comes next. And something is coming next, not loudly, not suddenly, but steadily, something that will feel different from the beginning. Because you will meet it as the version of yourself who now understands what truly matters. And when that moment arrives, you will look back at this shift And instead of wondering, why did this happen, you will quietly say, this is exactly what needed to happen. But for now, you are standing at the edge of that understanding, not fully there yet, but no longer where you were before. And that space, that in between, it holds something important, because the next step, the one that completes this entire transformation, is closer than you think. Right here, in this quiet in between, something is about to become unmistakably clear. Not loud, not overwhelming, just a soft certainty that settles into your chest, like a truth you've always known, but never fully allowed yourself to accept. Stay with this moment, because this is where everything gently comes together. You've already felt the shift. You've already sensed the distance. You've already begun to understand that something is changing. But now, you are beginning to understand why. Pause. It was never just about them. It was never just about the connection. It was about the way you were learning to see yourself through it. There was a version of you, not long ago, who was still discovering your worth, still learning what you deserved, still trying to understand what real alignment feels like. And this connection, it met you there. It walked with you there. It reflected back to you exactly what you were ready to see at that time. But now, you're no longer standing in that same place. You've grown, quietly, deeply, in ways even you didn't fully notice at first. And because of that, what once felt like enough now feels incomplete. Not wrong. Just no longer a full reflection of who you are becoming. Let that settle. Because this realization doesn't come with pain. It comes with clarity. And clarity is one of the most peaceful forms of truth. There is no need to fight what you now see. No need to question yourself. No need to go back and analyze every moment. Because when something becomes clear, it doesn't need to be forced into understanding. It simply is. And what you're realizing now is that you were never meant to stay in a place where your energy had to adjust to be accepted. You were never meant to silence parts of yourself just to maintain a connection. You were never meant to wonder, even quietly, if you were being fully met. Because the version of you that is awakening now doesn't question their value, doesn't shrink their truth, doesn't settle for half clarity. Take a slow breath. Feel that. This is not loss. This is alignment becoming visible. And alignment feels different. It feels calm. It feels steady. It feels like you don't have to search for meaning, because it's already there. And here is something even deeper. Something you may not have considered before. Sometimes, people are placed in your life not to stay, but to prepare you for what will. To help you recognize the difference between attention and presence, between connection and alignment, between comfort and truth. And once you've learned that, the purpose of that connection is complete. Not in a heavy way, not in a sudden ending, but in a quiet understanding that says, I see now. Pause. And in that moment of seeing, everything softens. There is no urgency, no pressure, no need to rush away or hold on tighter. Because when you truly understand, you naturally begin to release what no longer fits, without resistance, without confusion, just, gently. And as you do, something begins to shift in your energy again. But this time, it feels lighter, clearer, almost like you've stepped into a version of yourself that is no longer searching, but allowing what is meant for you to come forward, allowing what is not to fade naturally. And this is where the quiet transformation completes itself, because now, You are no longer asking, "Why is this happening?" You are beginning to feel, "This is guiding me somewhere." And that feeling, it's not uncertain, it's peaceful, even if you don't fully see what's ahead yet, because deep down, you trust it, more than you trust the confusion you once felt, more than you trust the need to hold on to something that no longer feels the same. You trust the shift. Stay just a moment longer, because there is one final realization, one that ties everything together in a way that feels almost unexpected. This guidance, it didn't arrive to take something away from you. It arrived to return you to yourself, to the version of you that knows what feels right, what feels real, what feels like peace, without effort. And from this place, you will begin to notice something quietly beautiful. You won't chase clarity anymore. You will feel it. You won't question alignment anymore. You will recognize it. You won't hold on to connections out of habit anymore. You will choose them from truth. And that shift, that quiet, steady shift, it changes everything that comes next, because now, you are no longer moving through life hoping things will feel right. You are moving through life knowing when they do. Pause. And when the next connection enters your life, you will feel the difference immediately. Not in intensity, not in confusion, but in calm, in certainty, in a quiet sense of, "This feels right," without effort. And in that moment, you will understand why this shift had to happen, not as a question, but as a realization that feels complete. But that moment, it hasn't fully arrived yet, not completely. There is still one last layer. A final piece, something gentle, something deeply personal, waiting just ahead. And when it reveals itself, you won't just understand this journey. You will feel grateful for it,